We are live.
My name is Abina Johnson, and this is Focus on Liberia. Hit it! From Kemau to Cape Palmo, Mount Nimba to Atlantic Ocean, Obomi Hills to Bokonjre, to educate, elevate, and promote. Talk about home affairs, in diaspora, current affairs, reliable information, history, talking about culture, politics, education, entertainment, business, sports, advertisement, articulation. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. From Monday to Sunday.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another session of Focus on Liberia. I am your host, Gabriel Carter. Today, the table has turned. My co-host, who is now a CEO, doing some great things in Liberia, is actually in the CEO seat. So we're going to be talking to him today to learn about, what the latest and greatest project that he's working on, which is the Liberian Finance and Trust Corporation. I know you took a hiatus. We kept your job open. We kept your job open here at the Focus on Liberia. We haven't hired anybody yet, but I know in that whole time you've been doing some great things in Liberia, which is the Liberian Finance and Trust Corporation. So welcome back to the show as a CEO, but also, from Liberia. Tell us what's happening in Liberia.
Well, Gabriel, I just want to say thank you, man. I'm having such a blast over here. I know before the show at 7, we always try to get together and have a little conversation. But I was at the beach, man. I was at the beach swimming. I said, oh, you know what? We got work to do. So, I'm near Liberia. The weather is beautiful. The whole vibe, everything. There's hustle and bustle. People are trying to make things happen, trying to make things work. This is just a refreshing maybe space to kind of come in. We step away from the whole politics and everything. Get into some business stuff. As you know, regardless of what's going on in the political world, people are still trying to move and shake and bake, and people are still thriving despite its challenges. So I'm just happy to be here. And thanks for being a true Liberian. As you know, when we touch down in Liberia, all of our titles become chief, CEO, general, commander, executive. So,
which one are you taking on, the chief or the commander?
Thank you. So my true title with the Liberia Finance and Trust Corporation Credit Union is I'm the manager. To be honest with you, president, CEO. I think I'm still young. I'm still learning. So I reserve those titles for maybe the more seasoned folks.
So I know you do. A lot of people know you to be on the show. When you and I used to co-host this show, and you frequently appeared on the show. For those of you who don't know you, maybe give a little bit of introduction, maybe a little bit of background on yourself. I know this. You might say, Gabriel, we've done this already. People know me already, but you are now in a different position. Coming from a different perspective. So I think people need to understand your background. One of it is that you got an MBA, I think about a year ago. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so yeah, give people a little bit of details on that.
So yeah, let me pick back off of that. I got my MBA in entrepreneurship
Yeah.
from Pepperdine University,
Yeah.
Graziano School of Business,
Hmm.
and it's in California, beautiful Malibu. So the whole campus is overlooking this cliff with the beach and everything. And can you imagine the MBA I was doing was in the city at the extension campus. So I
Nice.
was like, man, we graduated there. I was like, man, I was missing out. So I got my MBA there, undergrad from University of Southern California
Hmm.
as well. I spent about 13 years working with Southern California Edison in the utility space.
Yeah.
And then I left and started, got into real estate big time,
Yeah.
right? Doing property management, representing, and then buying, selling, and
Yeah.
doing lending
Testing.
and right. And I was like, you know what? It's about this time that I go get my MBA. And while I was in one of my MBA classes, it's actually organization behavior or OB and we had this thing we did, Clifton personality test. And they were like, you know what, Will, you're more suited to be an entrepreneur. And I thought about it. I said, you know what? This really makes sense. So I am unapologetically in the entrepreneur space. The space that I like is the real estate space,
Hmm.
and there's another space that we're looking at, which is
Hmm.
this whole the credit union finance space, and
Hmm.
so definitely that. And my dad started this Liberia Finance and Trust in 1977,
Hmm.
1977, and the whole idea back then was that hey, there aren't a lot of financial institutions that are looking to capture the mom and pop small time business people in Liberia, and so he saw that opportunity and he jumped in it. And so since then, of course, we've had the war, the ups and downs, and so forth. But
Yeah.
the union is really such a good extension of Liberia Finance and Trust Corporation. And
Right.
he will always say, I said we are launching. He said, no, we are relaunching. I said we are establishing. He said, no, we are reestablishing. This was already here. So my dad might be watching this. And so for the record, Dad, we are reestablishing, we are relaunching, we're restarting. So, please don't
Get that
get,
right.
yeah, I
Yeah.
got it right.
Yeah. Yeah. No, thank you. I think, when you and I started talking about this was probably, was it late 2020 or 2021?
Yeah, COVID.
Yeah, I know. It was a while ago. All of a sudden, you now have a fully operational running finance and trust corporation, a credit union that is now up and running,
Mhm.
that I think will eventually grow into maybe eventually becoming a full-fledged bank eventually if you put pedal to the metal and do the right things. But I know you have a presentation here, so maybe we should before, if you don't have anything else to say, maybe we can just jump into maybe just telling us, would go through this slide and you can tell us exactly what is the Liberian Finance and Trust Corporation. You can tell us about the credit union, what you guys have done so far, what you guys look to do in the future, and how eventually, or how you think you will contribute to the, not just the community, but also overall the economy of Liberia. Void of the politics. So
Right.
let's jump. If you don't have anything else to say, let's jump right into that.
Well, I think we can definitely jump into it as you bring up the first slide,
Yeah.
just for the audience so they're aware.
Hmm.
Naturally, I'm a people's person, and most
Yeah.
of the work that I've done, I've discovered over the course of 10, 15 years, is really about service to people. It comes so naturally. As
Yeah.
the president of the Liberian American Community Organization of Southern California, during Ebola, we stepped up. We did 3 containers.
Yeah.
We did some scholarships. We've even sent gifts for some kids on starting up missions here. So
Hmm.
it's just always been about service, right? So I think as we sit down and we have this good casual conversation, what is this thing really about, right? And at the core of what it is, it's
Yeah.
about people. It's about being able to impact people's lives, right?
Yeah.
And we are looking to do this from the financial space, and it's a good space. I think it's a space that helps. I think it's a space that empowers. So as we go through this and we talk about, Liberia Finance and Trust Credit Union, we get into a little bit of the minutiae and so forth. I just want all of us to kind of keep that in mind, that at the core of what we're really trying to do here is impact people's lives.
Okay. Well said. Well said. Well said. Well said. All right. Without further ado, let's get into this so you can help us. I was going through the slides and I was like, this is. For those of you watching, please, if you have a moment, please do take your time to share the podcast, the show, and invite others to chime in as well. This is the Business, Finance, and Economics show that we usually talk everything business, finance, and economics. So, So tell us, what is the Liberian Finance and Trust Corporation? I think you may have answered that question.
Well, yeah, let me dig a little bit quickly. So the Liberia Finance and Trust Corporation is a non-bank financial institution. Mm-hmm. And we're licensed by the Central Bank of Liberia, and we're licensed to perform various financial activities that doesn't involve taking people deposits. So you have your normal banks in Liberia, like your EcoBank, GT Banks, Access Bank. They're able to take individuals' deposits, right? And you can go and you can ask for your money, and you can request for your money at the window, and they'll give you your money and so forth. So Central Bank normally have about 2 or 3 licenses, and for simplicity, we'll just say there's the banking license and the non-banking license. And what the Finance and Trust Corporation is a non-bank, why we don't take deposits license. So that means that if we want, we can then get into insurance product. We can get into financing businesses and stuff like that product. We can get into lending. We can get into microfinance. We can get into mortgage. Those are some of the spaces that this license allows us to
but
get
not
into.
Deposit. You can't take deposit yet.
No, we cannot take. I can't have like a full blown banking. And most banks, and I think we'll get into it later. So if you are a diaspora and you're looking at something that says credit union, in your mind, you're thinking about your traditional USA in the US credit union, where, hey, I can do banking. Well, the credit union has a banking license, and they're able to take deposits, right? And so it's so common that we don't think about it, but in Liberia and Africa, there are 2 separate spaces.
Okay. So I know you talked about the core of the business, or whatever you guys do. The core of it is people center, meaning it's a people's business that you guys do. So as we go through these slides, you should tell us. So maybe you can talk to us about this slide.
Yeah, definitely. If you go back one slide, I just want this picture, right? So this was so telling, right? When I was in Liberia, this is off of Broad Street. This is right opposite the Natural History Museum, the National History Museum. This is right in front of the LFTC, right? And so this lady comes, and I love cucumbers, man. So anyway, I love street food. So she comes with this wheelbarrow. She got her cucumbers on there and everything, and she's selling it, right? 50 LD, 70 LD, 100 LD. So I just strike up a conversation with her, and she's like, I want to go to the US. I want to do business over there,
Oh, wow.
And she's like, it is hot. She's smiling. She's vibrant.
Yeah.
She's excited about life, and she's actually working to earn, right? And you may look at that wheelbarrow and be like, what is this really thing, right? But truth be told, at the end of the day, she may make $10 profit, or she may make $15 profit just from
out of that entire wheelbarrow.
Right. And so remember, minimum wage in Liberia is about $5 a day. If I'm not mistaken, I think it's $5 a day.
5
right?
US.
So yeah, five US. So she's at 150. right? But if you look at it, she's at $300. So she has responsibilities, and the Bible said, "Despise not humble beginnings." So
Yeah,
I
yeah,
really looked at this and say, this is one of a potential client, a potential customer,
yeah.
because you can save, and then later on you can move on to different products and everything
Bring
like
her.
that.
Yeah,
So that's why I have this, right? Because it's really about impactful service. So you can
yeah,
go to the next one.
yeah.
So what are we really talking about, right?
Right.
So this is your community-based lending.
Blended.
So
Yeah,
we focus on meeting the financial needs of those individuals that traditionally the banks cannot. They're not at that bank level yet, and that's
yeah.
just a reality. Sometimes people are not at that bank level yet. And so we help to get them ready, and then you can move them on into the whole banking world, right?
Yeah.
Because then there's a whole lot more products and different things from the bank side that they can really utilize as they get bigger. And so for us, it's a membership owned, right? So this is a financial cooperative. It's owned by its members. So once you
Depositor.
become a member, you have a voting right.
Mhm.
So you can vote and you can decide on some of the decisions that we make. You can begin saving, and you can decide if you want to save as low as our minimum is $5 a month. So you
Okay.
can save as minimum as $5 a month, and you can go all the way up, right? So we try to give you a little bit of a tailored custom savings and loan plan. If you are a employer, and you have some low income earners, this is a good place to actually start. And we want to encourage savings. The reason we want to encourage savings is because it's very fundamental, right? You're going to have maybe a rainy day, or you're building for a plan. And so we encourage savings. And lastly, when I looked at this and I looked at the various credit unions, I said, you know what? I don't think there's a space that targets the
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
diaspora Liberians,
yeah.
or just in general, diaspora Africans, really in general, and say, hey, you know what? Be a member of a credit union in a very different system than what they have in the U.S. So that's what this is about. So we focus on a commitment to service,
Right.
right? We like community focused, and we kind of look to provide some kind of tailored financial solutions, and we
So,
empower members. Go
yeah.
ahead.
So my question to you, you initially mentioned that this is not a deposit taking. So how do you structure the saving part, and how do you get the diaspora to invest in uh, the institution if they are not depositing? How do they do that?
Thank you. So basically, what takes place is in a potential member comes, or a member comes join,
Yeah.
they will either write a check or do a mobile money, or they'll come with cash in Liberia.
Yeah.
If you are in the diaspora, they may send it through money transfer means.
Right.
And so what we do with that money is we have a banking relationship currently at the moment with
Yeah.
EcoBank.
Okay.
So EcoBank is our custodial. They're the
Custodian.
ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, they are our custodian banking, right?
Right.
So when we collect those funds, then we deposit into the Liberia Finance and Trust Credit Union account. And what we do at our office is that we have a meticulous way of keeping the records of the individual, of the member, how much they've deposited. So that's how it works, and that's the solution that isn't just for us. That's a solution that central bank has actually made available in
Okay.
that space.
Okay. Yeah, because I want people to understand that, and I think you talked about the customer profile that you guys are currently dealing with, which is basically those who are not in the banking, are not unbankable, right?
Right.
Basically, those that the bank cannot lend to right now. Those are the people you guys are targeting, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So my So maybe you should talk to us about this slide. If not, we can jump to the next one.
Well, yeah, let's talk about this diaspora thing, right?
Right.
Because so the way we look at
The
it
question, maybe
was,
the question is, I know, and the reason why, maybe not to cut you off,
yeah,
there are other people who have been trying to, you know, even the government is actually trying that right now, trying to really coalesce the diaspora around investing in Liberia. Besides this whole thing that everybody does, which is, you send money to your family, you send money to your sister, your cousins, and friends, and whatever it is, right? They're trying
right,
to coalesce, everybody trying to coalesce the diaspora collectively in either an investment fund. I think the government is working on something like that. There's also another, uh, you know, investment fund that is being established by, I don't know if you heard, Dualu is doing something like that. I'm
right.
not sure how ground that is gaining, how much ground that has gained. So maybe you should tell us about your strategies. I don't know if maybe you shouldn't tell us too much about your strategy because somebody else can take it and say, okay, that's a great strategy. Maybe tell
Yeah,
us and give us an overview about how you think you're going to get the diaspora to,
right,
embrace
right,
this finance
right.
corporation. Right.
I mean, I think,
Don't put too much of the sauce out there. Just that's what
right,
I'm saying.
right,
Right.
right. I mean, you, I'm someone that I think the true challenge lies in implementation, right?
Thank
And
you. Yes.
right now, when I look at this stuff, I
Right.
think there isn't a honest right way.
To do it.
You're going to hit the like jackpot, right, to target
Right.
diaspora, right? So the fact that there are, like the government is involved trying to reach out, the fact that, you have a couple of investment funds out there trying to
Hmm.
figure out different ways, and the fact that I'm out here to say this, I think eventually this is a space where we're going to get somewhere. I don't know what that somewhere looks like,
Yeah.
but definitely something that's worth trying.
Hmm.
My thing is just it's a little bit more simplistic
Okay.
in that I want to engage the diaspora and say, hey, uh, join the credit union,
Okay.
put some money away. I know you're saving in the U.S., save some money in Liberia,
Hmm.
and also let's build this pool of money or this pot of money because
Hmm.
as credit union members and as the credit union, we have a lot of flexibility with how we can go about lending. Of
Right.
course, at the beginning, we're going to start with secure lending. So we lend to our members.
Right.
We lend about 70% of what you have in that account, right? That
Mhm.
you've been saving, right?
Mhm.
But eventually, we will get to a point where we have a good chunk of money, and we can get into maybe a little bit of non-secure lending, right? And I think that's where now, because the diaspora has that capital in there, and
Yeah.
now they're lending in Liberia, of course, the surplus, what is made, what is gained, they're able to be partakers of that economy because now that interest that is made, because we are a nonprofit, we are a not-for-profit organization, the
Mhm.
Liberia Finance and Trust Credit Union, not the corporation, but the credit
Yeah.
union.
The credit
And
union.
so, and so we don't deal in profit, we deal in surplus. So
Okay.
what happens is from the lending or from the different activities from which we make money, a
Hmm.
certain percentage of that money that is made, we share it back to our customers, right? And
Yeah.
and 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 the place for me, it's a very small, unique, specific place, which is like, hey, we're going to be doing some lending. We're going to get into money remittances, money transfer. That's where it is going. It's very specific. It's very clear. Anyone that would like to research can do their research to learn more about it, and then they know that okay, this is the direction in which my savings are being diverted to make some kind of interest or surplus.
Okay. So here's what do you think is your competitive advantage in terms of the other credit unions and financial institutions in the in the country. Talk to us about some of the securities, and I know you mentioned the central bank. You mentioned Echo Bank
Mhm.
as your custodian bank. Um, so maybe talk to us about some of the advantages that you currently have that makes you unique, that will make people in the diaspora. Because I think the reason why I brought up this question, most people, the reason is we have this trust, right? To not it's not like a really trust issue. It takes time before we come around, um, an idea, before we embrace an idea. But the more open you can be about some of the securities issues around your credit union, not issues, but the security um, advantages around your credit union, the more people will embrace that. So I know you mentioned the central bank, Echo Bank being your partner as well. So maybe you can talk to her about those partnership as well. That makes your
Thanks.
credit union unique, right?
Thanks, Gabe. One of the things, and we'll get into a slide, and
Right.
I'll actually have you go there.
Right.
If you can keep going a little bit more, it's going to be don't keep go for it, keep going. Yeah, right there.
Okay.
Go back one more. So the thing is giving people options, right?
Hmm.
There isn't a right or wrong or one size face all, or this is the best investment. I
Right.
think one of the things we've learned is that it's good to diversify. You may
Hmm.
have some investments that are giving you a higher return. You may have some investments that are giving you a more fixed return,
Hmm.
and you may have one that's a little bit more volatile. But at the end of the day, it's good for you to diversify, right? If you're coming to me for like an I won't say that I'm a financial planner, but in my life, I feel that hey, put some money in stocks, put some money into real estate, put some money into different things, right?
Bonds and
So
treasury, right?
right. So for anyone listening, please consult your financial advisor. Don't
Yeah.
take what I'm just saying right now. So competition wise, right now when we looked at the market in Liberia, one of the spaces that I think we can compete on is the interest rate at which borrowing is done. So
Mm.
some credit unions, their percentage is a lot higher, but
Hmm.
we are saying, hey, we're going to do it 10%, right?
Okay. Yeah.
That's something that's critical. And in the credit union space,
Hmm.
members are owners, so there's ownership, right?
Yeah.
When you look at um, Susu,
Hmm.
the Susu space, and a few other credit unions, not all of them, and I think what I'm trying to say here is when I use the credit union for our audience, that's 15%. I really would like to kind of correct that and say that there there are non-formal credit unions, credit
Yeah.
clubs, right? So those credit clubs, they are not part of a formal system.
Yeah.
They don't have regulatory oversight.
Hmm.
Uh, Sometimes funds are kept and secure with one person or two
Yeah.
individuals. And so you're really dealing with a heavily trusted system. And sometimes it may not go as smooth.
Yeah.
But it works. When it works, it works. So
It
like I
works. It
said,
works. Yeah.
right, this is just for us, we decided to go a little bit different approach with more regulatory oversight. When you look at commercial banks,
Hmm.
the interest rates um, that they are lending at is definitely higher.
20%.
Um, right. And of course, you may, if you have a really good relationship, you may get 10, you may get 11, 12, but overall in the market, you're just walking in from off the street. You're like,
Yeah.
hey, this is what, that's kind of the going rate and a little bit higher. Microfinance, they go anywhere from 22 to 26%. Okay. So it's a little bit restrictive. You have to
Yeah.
deal with some paperwork, and
Yeah.
you are the customer. So you're not the owner. So your money is there. They can lend your money, but you're not necessarily um, have access to that full profit unless you really buying shares in it and everything, and you're really kind of involved, right?
Mhm.
And then there's the hard money lender, right? This is the guy who he would take your car, he would take your whatever collateral you have,
Yeah, yeah.
um, but any one of these, depending on where you are in your life,
Makes sense.
it is what it is, right?
Yeah,
And so
yeah.
our space where we think we can compete well is in this 10% space. And as we grow, and once we get to a certain level and we're doing a lot of turnover, then that 10%, if you turn the money over 3 times a year, that's about 30%.
Mhm.
So,
So you're
and
literally competing on from the rate perspective, right? Which is, if you were, let's say, this is a service, but if you were a product, this is basically like the what I call the Honda model, right? You don't want to
Mhm.
go compete at the top. You want to compete at the quality. You're looking at quality and you're looking at volume. Say, I'm just going to come in, compete at the rates level. Everybody charging higher, but I'm just going to charge 10% and look at turning that money over maybe 3 times in a year. Then that actually gives you the volume and leverage to be at 30% or so within a year.
Exactly.
Right, right,
Exactly, and
right.
of course now, and you kind of doing this from like the bootstrap, right? So the
Yeah,
hard work is getting members, right?
yeah,
You're going to be, trying to get members, convince people, and everything like that.
right.
You have people who've been like, hey, you know what? I'll just keep my money where I normally keep it, and keep it pushing, right? So you really have to give a little bit more incentive, and I think we'll get into that a little bit later.
You're right.
So this is the competitive space that we look to try to move certain things in.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's go back here. We've already done this one. Do you want to talk about the regulatory compliance within the space? I think you kind of touched on a little bit last little bit,
Yeah,
but you can go deeper into this because I think
yeah,
this
yeah.
is what most people look for. Like, is this
Right,
regulated? Is this safe for me to put my money in? So maybe this
right,
is, besides it, you're competing against on
right.
at the rate level. You're also, this is a very good competitive strategy as well in terms of
Correct,
from a
correct,
regulatory standpoint,
correct.
right?
You know, people as a whole sometimes people can make certain decisions, make certain choices
Yeah.
that can be detrimental to a financial institution. So
Hmm.
what we try to do is just we try to eliminate a lot of those spaces that something like that can happen, right?
Hmm.
And so this is where the whole regulatory compliance comes in. So
Hmm.
in Liberia, there are about 14 credit unions, and all 14 credit unions fall underneath the Liberia Credit Union National Association. And
Okay.
this is the association that has oversight over all the credit unions and what is going on.
Yeah.
So before you can launch the credit union, you have to go through training. Your staff has to go through training. They want to know who your board members are. They want
Hmm.
to know, there's just a lot of, I'm not going to say hurdles, but there are a lot of things that they go through to vet to make sure that you are who you say you are, and that you're going to do what you say you're going to do, and it's not going to be a situation where you're going to be absconding with individuals' money, right? So
Hmm.
you have that piece, and the lacuna is actually fall underneath central bank also.
Okay.
So lacuna will respond to central bank. Okay. The other thing is when I bring up capital reserve, and looking from the diaspora side, there's always FDIC, right? Federal
Yes.
Deposit Insurance Corporation, right? So they're
Yeah.
like, hey, Will, is this thing got FDIC? I'm like, no, this thing doesn't have FDIC, right? FDIC is in the
It's a
US.
different entity by itself, right?
It's a whole different entity, right?
Right. Right.
What they do have is you have banks here, and so you're looking to um, work with banks that have a good reputation, that have been in the market for a while and that you feel can really add value to what you're trying to do. And
Yeah.
central bank regulates banks with their reserves and say, hey, if you are going to do banking and take people money, we want you to have X amount. Sometimes it's eight. Some banks are 8 million. Some banks are 10 million, depending on how long you've been in the system,
Yeah.
and what your deposits look like. And so they're like, you have to have this kind of cash available just in case something happens. So that's where the capital reserve comes in big time. The other thing is the financial custodian, right? So
Right.
we don't hold onto members' cash
Yeah.
at our financial institution. So depending on the time of the day that you come and you make your savings deposit, then from there we move it into the
Custodian bank, which is
custodial bank, Echo Bank, right? And an interesting dynamic is taking place in Liberia, which is now mobile money transfers. There are so many different ways through which you can now move money around and not have someone touch it, but also have a good audit trail. So what we have set up is when you make a deposit via mobile money into our accounts, we have an account with Lone Star, Orange. If you do that, it's a one-way push.
okay.
Right. So if you use any of the money transfer apps, TipMe, Colai Cash, any of them, we've set it up so it's just a one-way push. What that means is that the individuals that work at the credit union, they cannot pick up the phone, call Colai Cash or call TipMe or Orange or Lone Star and divert the funds into another account. The funds can only go one way, and that's into the credit union account. And in that space, what we have set up is you have to have two type of signatories. There's the A signatory and the B signatory. So both individuals have to be there to sign if you have to move the physical cash from the credit union account out to where you can now lend it, or you can then place it into the remittance space and into the money transfer space and so forth.
Yeah.
So that's that's a little bit of the process that we go through. The next one, of course, the non-depository institution. So basically what that means is if we are caught in the space doing something like this, then of course there's fines and so forth. So we believe that we've done our best to mitigate and to have some good internal controls to make sure that the money that's flowing in and out, it's not getting pilfered.
Okay. All right. So this is the team at the credit union.
Yeah, thank you so much. So we.
All right, you have all one.
Oh man, you know what? I think is this the old deck or the
This is probably the old deck. This one doesn't have any.
Man.
Anyways,
look at this
I'm
guy,
just giving
man.
you hell.
I send you a fresh, brand new deck, and now you give me with the old one. So
Okay.
just so everyone know, we have one member of the team who actually transitioned to a better job, right? So that's the guy in the middle, Freeman. But yeah, so we have the credit union rep, Philip. You have Morris, who's our accountant. So Liberia Credit Union National Association, before they can approve you, you have to have an accountant. And this is the person that has been trained in how to handle all of the flow of receipts coming in, the outflow, and so forth, right? So that's a very critical piece. And then we have Kelvin Wright, who helps with the filing and everything. And of course, you have me from the credit union management side. We added, and I think I sent that on the new deck, but we actually added two more personnels. We added a Liberia Finance and Trust Corporation operation manager, and part of the operations is, of course, the operations of the credit union.
Yeah.
and we added another lady named Agnes, and Agnes has over 10 years, I believe, experience doing teller and working the window for Western Union, MoneyGram, and so forth. So we
Okay.
have we have one woman, and she's handling the money. So we are in trouble.
That's no, that's the important part of it.
Right. You know, she's probably going to ask you 50 million questions before she
Yeah.
let you hold anything. So,
Yeah.
so
That's
that's
good.
what. Yeah.
Awesome. 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 So let's talk about. I think when you said key points, these are services you guys offer, right? From what I'm seeing here,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. So key points, right? If you're going to be dealing with the credit unions, that I think I look at these and say, hey, I think um, this is where maybe we stand out. This is where I think we stand out, right?
Mhm.
So secure savings and lending.
Right.
We've covered our whole compliance stuff, and we've also covered that we are banking with a leading commercial bank in
Right.
this space. And so, you know, they have much more arm, they have much more muscle
Hmm.
in terms of how they guard the cash and everything like that. And at the same time, understand if there's such a big bank, if there's an issue where an incident goes on where they're missing a significant amount of cash, uh, they will still cover us as customers. Okay, so that's very, very, very
Have
critical.
that back end.
While they will deal with what happened and so forth. So we want to serve both local and diaspora members, right? So
Mhm.
um, something that's important is that when we're in the diaspora, there are times where individuals will approach us to lend them money or to help pay the school fee or to help do different things in Liberia. And so this is where it can kind of be helpful because while you may lend money to them, um, at the end of the day, you get to share in that surplus distribution. Okay. And we serve both diaspora and local. So there's no hocus pocus. There's really no like hurdle. It's a credit union of members.
Yeah.
So you can do trans-border. Hey, you're in the States. You're like, hey, you know what? I've been saving with you guys. I got about 5K saved up. I got about 4K saved up, and I got some family in Liberia that I want you to lend some of this money that I have. I want you to lend it to them, right? So we can
Mhm.
actually work through that process, and we can then disperse the funds according to the way that you tell us. So that's the whole beauty of it. Tierless savings, loan plans, right? You may have
Mhm.
a employer who wants to just say, hey, you know what? I got 10, 20, 20, 30, and we want to form this tight knit um, savings and loan thing,
Mhm.
and we want to put out and we want to keep it separate. That's not a problem because we administer that, we help manage it. So that's something that we can do. Then at the end of the year, of course, we have the surplus distribution. So whatever the profit was, 65% goes to the members, and we distribute it. And it's, do you want
Right.
to continue or do you want to end your membership? What would you like to do? And at that point, if the member says keep going, we keep going. If they say no, then we keep it pushing.
But what
Uh,
if, I mean, is that a question you will ask at the end of the year? Where what if somebody just said, you know what, whatever surplus you have for me, just deposit it in my account and just let it compound over time, year after year.
yeah, I mean,
Kind of
no
how,
problem.
right,
No problem, because we're gonna, we're gonna close you out that year and say, hey, you know what, this is what the year looked like for you, and
right,
you're requesting us to continue to move forward with the next year. Not a
mhm,
problem.
yeah.
Not a
So,
problem.
um, talk to us about the. I think this is something you talked. Maybe not. The membership, the minimum equity share requirement.
Yeah,
I think that's what
yeah,
you
yeah,
just
yeah.
talked
Let's real simple, right? So
about.
to be a member,
Right,
You have to own a minimum of one share.
Okay.
One share. You can own a maximum of 10 shares. That's
Okay.
it. You can't go more. You cannot go over.
Okay.
Okay. You just cannot. Okay. So it's one share minimum, and if you want, you can buy up to 10. And the reason why we're doing that is that we do not want we want this credit union to be more of a community kind of a credit union, right? We don't want it to be something where it's one person that's overwhelming the whole entire process, the whole entire thing. And when they decided to pull out their 10 grand, then we're like, oh man, what do we do, right? So, you got to buy at least one share. Now, in Liberia, we also work with individuals. So if you need 3 months, 4 months to buy one share, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
fine, right? So, you have to have that consistent savings. Commit at least to saying, hey, I'll save $5 a month,
Right. Right.
right? Minimum of $5 a month. You can save it. For some individuals, they say, you know what? I'll just send you one payment, $60 for the whole year, and that's fine, right? You don't want to deal with other stuff. And those who want to save more, they can save more. And those who want to save intermediately, like every 3 months and so forth, that's fine
Yeah.
also.
So you talked about the annual dues.
Mhm.
How much is the annual due?
The annual dues is $5.
$5. So technically, you're telling me I can open an account and all I have to pay is $5 a year for maintenance.
Well, the annual dues is $5 but for the initial membership, is $15.
$15
$15.
$15 to open an account.
Yeah, $15 to open an account. That's for the application. We're
Right.
looking over it. You get this book.
Right.
This is Liberia, my man. I would like everything digital, but you get this little
You
membership
still have
book.
to educate.
Yeah, you get the little membership book.
Yeah.
Remember we have an oversight, which is Lacuna,
Yeah.
Liberia Credit National Association. So they're like, look,
Why that?
providing you this book, that thing is not free, my man. And for us to be making sure LFTC do the right thing is not free too. So part of that whole application fees and dues, we got to get some of it.
Okay, so that's the $15 to open at the initial.
Mhm. Yeah.
Besides the annual due, which is $5, and if you spread out over a 12-month period, that's technically pennies, right?
Yeah.
Are there any other monthly maintenance fee like they do most banks in Liberia do? What they have service fee?
Right. So
Right.
we right now the custodial bank we use overall for our whole entire pool, they charge $15 per month
15.
for
Okay,
the
then.
entire pool, right? But if
Right.
I'm doing at the beginning, you kind of feel it, a little bit.
Or if you
But
have a
when you get over
collective,
30, yeah, when you get over 30, 40,
nothing.
50,000, then they're probably gonna waive that fee maybe, or you're probably gonna be like, man, look, man, we're not sweating over this stuff.
So technically, there's no maintenance fee for the customer side besides the initial fee they pay from the beginning and their annual $5 fee they pay at the end of the year.
Right. I mean, the maintenance fee from the bank, of course, we will take it out of the annual
Operational.
expense, right? So remember, we have so you get 65% of the surplus,
Right.
35%. We keep part of that is for our staff, a percentage for
Yeah.
the staff. There's a
Right.
percentage for the board and et cetera, et cetera.
Right. Okay. So, okay. So I have a question here for you, and this
Mhm.
is well, not question, a few questions here for you. Can you maybe, I don't know if this is something we can do right now, but maybe walk us through the process of, someone in the diaspora who wants to open an account. Just tell us
Thank
about
you. Thank you. So process is straightforward. There's a form. We have a website,
right.
and on that website we have a form, and we try to make it really straightforward, right? You go to the form, the form. It's pretty much very easy. You go through it, you answer the questions. It takes you through what is it you want to save.
Right.
It takes you about maybe 15 minutes, 15,
Can
20
you
minutes.
can you tell me quickly? Can you tell me the website so I can put that on the comment?
Yeah, definitely. www.Liberia Finance and Trust.
The N spelled out, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Trust. Yep.
Uh-huh.
Corporation.
Yeah. No, you're not going to Liberia Finance and Trust dot com.
Okay. Perfect. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry, I just wanted to drop that website in the chat. I mean, in the comments.
Yeah, definitely. Not a problem at all. Not a problem at all. And
Yeah.
so you know,
Yeah, you are navigating us through the opening the account
you're
process.
going to go there and right. Give me 1 second here. Sorry about that.
Right.
My screen did some weird stuff. So the whole account process, hey, 15, 20 minutes. I can't do 5 minutes. You're dealing with money. So, take your time, right?
Yeah.
Fill out the form,
Right.
look through it. You're dealing with a potential investment. And
Right.
I don't think it's right that I just create the form with your name, your phone number, your email, and send me your money. So
You need more detail.
yeah. So you need a little bit more detail, but we're not asking you for your social security number. For those in the
Yeah.
diaspora, we're not asking you for your driver's license. For those in the diaspora, what we will be asking for a picture, so that we can have that to the name. We are asking if you have like a next of kin, because it's your money. If something happened, it's not our money. We want to make sure we get it to the right person, right?
Somebody else. Right.
Exactly. We ask a few questions so that when it's time for the loan, or it's time for you, maybe you want to lend the money to someone in Liberia and on your behalf. These are some of the questions that will help us ensure that we are indeed dispersing this to the right person.
To the right person.
So one piece that I really like about the form is that as you go through it, once you're done and you submit it, it actually sends you a little invoice based on what you selected, what your savings are and everything like that. And what it does is that it comes up with an amount that you should be sending. And we recommend, that you use the way you want to send your money is up to you, right?
Yeah.
And we give you those options. There's a plethora of options because that's the world that we live in.
Yeah.
That you can use to send your money. And we have a staff. We monitor the whole form. We see what's going on in the background. And once that comes through, it clears. You're a member. And the other piece is that we have to approve the members, right? So that's something that's important. It's kind of like a little KYC, right?
Yeah.
We want to make sure that, hey, we are this is serious people, pretty much, right? We don't want to get into any issues.
Okay. So that is thank you for answering that. So my next question here is and you may have talked about that at the beginning of the conversation here. What is your strategies for the diaspora? Meaning for guys like me that you say, hey, I want you guys to leverage my credit union, or I want you guys save with my credit union. What are some of the strategies you have for I think I asked you this question, but maybe you can go a little bit in details about in broader context to really get the diaspora, the Liberians and non-Liberians and people alike to say, this is the credit union I want to go to because of what they're doing. So what is maybe give us a bit of overview.
So we got couple of things. So Gabe, what I did in the private chat, I send you a little bit more direct link to the credit union. Right?
Okay.
That's what I did. And how we want to look at to grow our space in this savings, right?
Right.
For the diaspora. I realized that with the diaspora, they're like, well, I'm not too really excited about the 10%, right? I'm not too excited about it. I like it, but I won't be borrowing 10%. I'm like, why not? Like, well, I'm in the US, I have access to various ways for financing and everything like that, right? And
Hmm.
blah blah blah. I have a savings account, et cetera, right? So I sat back and I said, man, this is going to be what is the proposition value? What is the proposition value? So the Liberia Finance and Trust Corporation, we are um, approved. I would just use the term licensed to do remittances. So
Okay.
that's Western Union, RIA, MoneyGram. We are approved to do mobile money transactions from
Okay.
Lone Star and from Orange. And we are also approved through EcoBank to do EcoBank Express. For those who may not know, EcoBank Express is basically basic banking services and ATM services
Mhm.
that now the banks would like to have I would say affiliates, or I would say partners
Yeah.
that can help them do some of those for individuals who bank and they don't want to go maybe to the to the main bank
The main branch.
and
Right.
yeah, they don't want to go to the main branch. They need access to cash. So what it is we provide all these banking services, the sub agency services. Remember, non-depository, but we provide the sub banking agency services. We
Hmm.
provide mobile money services, and we provide money transfer services. And every time a customer come and utilize any of these services, be it Western Union, RIA, MoneyGram, EcoBank Express, they give us a little commission,
Okay.
right? So we earn a little bit commission because we are the ones that are there to maybe disperse that cash.
Hmm.
So we disperse the cash. They monitor it in the system to see what we're doing, the kind of services we're providing, and every one of those has a certain commission on it. And so what I decided to do was to say, hey, if you are in the diaspora, join our Liberia Finance and Trust Credit Union. And while your money is sitting there, while we may not be doing a lot of loan activity at the beginning, there's still a way for us to make some revenue from your
Hmm.
money, right? And so the idea here is to give them 20% of what we make from our commission
Hmm.
from those services: money transfer, Western Union, remittances, sub-agency banking, mobile money stuff, right? And so what happens is we did some analysis, and we believe that we can target that. We believe maybe we can give you between 6 to 12%. It may be more, it may be less,
Being
depending on what's
conservative.
going on. But like we said, nothing is I can't guarantee anything. So if
Right.
anybody is on here, like Bureau of Finance and Trust Credit Union, is not guarantee you that we're going to make 6%, 8%, 12%. No, our targeted return we believe can be between 6 to 12%, based on how we think we can perform. And so having individuals join the credit union from the diaspora with which is such a good wealthy capital,
Hmm.
if we build our capital to 50K, then we're not turning anyone away. So we are competing on our location, and we
Hmm.
are in the heart of downtown, Broad Street and Buchanan. um, so we think that that gives us a little bit of competitive edge.
Yeah.
We want to compete on not turning anyone away. So if someone comes and say, "Hey, I need 2,000 US dollars," we want to be able to fill that request. So the less people we turn away, the more now we have this reputation that, hey, these
Yeah.
guys, when you come here and there's a need, they're going to be able to meet that need,
Yeah.
right? And so the more, and then finally is if you're a member of the credit union and you know that you're going to make 20% of what we make at these windows, then we want you to spread the word to all your friends and families in Liberia and all your associates. Hey, if you're downtown Monrovia and you need to do some kind of money transaction,
Yeah.
go to LFTC, because at the end of the day, some of that revenue gets transferred back to you.
Yeah. That's awesome. Awesome. The next time you're coming back here, maybe you should put a jingle together so we can put the jingle out, man. You're advertising too.
Yeah, man. That is not one of my forte, but as an entrepreneur, to say you better go learn. So if
You
I
have
have a
to
very
think
nice
outside the
jingle,
box, man.
yeah, if I have a
Yeah.
very nice jingle, just know that I got help from AI.
That's well said. All right, let's get back to this slide. Maybe we can run
Yeah,
through it, and I completed with the rest of the
yeah,
questions that I have. So this is, you talk about encouraging savings, encourage equity ownership and benefits competitive. Maybe you can just tell us what you mean on here about these. And I think to some extent you did talk about them, but maybe you can
right,
expand on
right.
it.
I mean, it's always good. So we encourage savings, right? So, hey, if you're in the diaspora, if you're in Liberia, build your savings, right? For
Mhm.
that opportunity. When that opportunity comes around, that you feel good about it, you have some money you've been saving. I think saving is like fundamental. I'm not going to go into why it's so important. That's not what
Mhm.
the show is about. But I think we
Mhm.
all need to have some kind of savings somewhere. The other piece is the equity ownership benefits. So if you own 10 shares,
Mhm.
when it comes time to for that disbursement of that big chunk of money for the surplus, um, you're gonna be partaker, right? So you're gonna partake in that revenue share.
Yeah.
Competitive loan rates, we just told you, the rates can be 15, 20%. This is Liberia. It is what it is.
Mhm.
um, and we are at 10. So, and we want to do volume. So we're going to get to the point where our competitive competition is, hey, we just want to turn this thing over. Loan approval based on savings. It's a straightforward approach. Hey, you got $2,000, you got $1,000 in savings. You want to borrow, you can borrow 70% of what you have in savings, right?
Mhm.
Up to $700. If you want to borrow more and you have some friends that are part of the credit union, they can stand for you, and they'll vouch for you, and we'll be able to take some of their savings and lend it to you.
So you can lend
Regulatory.
to non-members? Is that what you say? So long as somebody who is a member can vouch for that
No, no,
individual?
no. Members. If you have people who are members,
Okay.
if you have a group of people who are members and they know each other, because it's community lending, they may know
Yeah.
each other. Like you and I might be members, and you're like, yo, well, I got 1,000. I say, hey man, I got 2,000 in. You like, look, I really want to borrow 1,500,
Hmm.
but I can only get 700 from me. I'm like, well, you know what? I don't really have a need for my money right now, so definitely
Ah,
I can
okay.
stand in the gap, and I can put up that other 800 for you,
Do
right?
you do
And
you know
so,
what that is? Do you know what company is doing that right now? Lending,
who?
lending, lending tree,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Yeah, lending tree is doing that. Meaning, basically, if you have money as an individual that you want to lend to other individuals, you can just, you know, put into lending tree, and they lend it out to other people that are in the. Basically, that's kind of similar to what lending tree is doing. So I just wanted to.
And they're doing that in the U.S., right? They're doing that in
Yes.
the U.S.
Yeah. Yeah.
and yeah, and that system is working
Yeah.
so
They're
far,
very.
right? Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
like pretty. Yeah, that is like one of the things that's so important is options,
Yeah.
right? Options. They may that may not be a cup of tea for someone else, but it may
Mhm.
work for another person. So yeah, definitely
Yeah.
good.
I think
All right.
this slide is supposed to be at the beginning, but maybe you can walk us through it, like in terms of the.
Yeah. So, credit union, just to give you guys the milestones that we've kind of hit. We started off, we got for the corporation, we got the non-depository finance license, and then we got the Lacuna certificate, right? We received the training. The
Mm-hmm.
next step, and I think this is important, Gabe, thanks for bringing this up, is people will say, well, King, man, what kind of skin do you have in this game? Do you have any skin in this game, right? What is it, right? Well, look, we've been for like a year. We've had our door open, and we've
Mm-hmm.
been paying staff. We've had to buy equipment. We had to get things to make this thing operational. We're going through some renovations, but this is the IT technology world. So
Yeah.
as you go through some renovations, you have to also make sure that you're open and you can get the ball rolling.
Mm-hmm.
And so as we um, make more revenue, generate more revenue, more surplus, and so forth, as the corporation,
Mm-hmm.
gets back to where it used to be, then our facility will look a million times better. But the fundamentals are there. We have electricity, we have computers, we have the personnel,
Mm-hmm.
we have the equipment that they need, and we got the agreements and the license, which is important.
Yeah.
Um, and then the next milestone, of course, I just covered, which is the agreements. Establish the custodial relationship with EcoBank. You get the mobile money and all of that going. Launch LFTC credit union, did that, and we are milestone 5 right now, which is we're trying to do that capital raise. It's a very ambitious goal. We want to get to 400 members. We want to get 50K. I think we're going to get to the 50K before we get to the 400 members. If we really have a good focus on the diaspora, and if Liberians really say, you know what, I think this is something that I can give a try, right?
Yeah.
And then, of course, once we're rocking and rolling,
Yeah.
things are coming in by the end of the year. We'll do our surplus disbursement.
Yeah.
Right? First year, it may not be much, but I think as we grow, it's going to be something that's going to be worthwhile.
Yeah. No, this is a great, 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 great milestone. Like they always say, the cliche is that Rome wasn't built in one day, and it doesn't take one person to build a country. But a quick story here: my former employer, which was Eastern Bank, right, was open in the 1800. When they opened at the first branch, it was a lady who made a deposit. I think it was about 10 cents or 15 cents that her husband gave her. That was the first customer. They used to open 3 days a week, not 2 days a week, and not entire 5 days a week. 3 days a week,
Right,
one person in a branch taking
right,
just right. The same way you are starting out right now. I say that
right,
because it gives you an insight in terms of, you know, yes, you might just have open. You're trying to raise 50K. You're trying to get up to 400 members. It's it's a process, right? It's a
right,
process. You're looking at it from a process standpoint, not something. Hey, we just open and we expect to have 2, 3, 4, 500 members. It's a process, gradual step. So,
right,
like with every business, you take the long view. Long view always
right.
works, right?
Exactly, exactly.
But you're an entrepreneur, so you know that. So talk to
Yeah.
us about your partner. It seems like you have, man, for a company that just opened about a year ago, you seem to
Yeah.
have quite a bit of
So,
a lot of partners.
right, some of the, some of times you say the term, if you call somebody your partner, if
Yeah,
you call the regulator your partner, then when they show up, you're not shaking, you're
yeah,
smiling,
yeah, yeah.
right? You're like, oh, there goes my friend. He's trying to make sure that I do everything correctly.
Right, right.
So that's EcoBank for now. They're our choice custodial bank.
Hmm.
Central Bank of Liberia. By the way, just for the audience sake, right? We are we are less than a 5-minute walk from the front door of Central Bank.
Wow.
And it's a
DJ.
big building, and they can look down at us, the little brother, and they can say, "Listen, you better keep going straight."
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Then there's Lacuna, who's the oversight, right? We deal with them. They also let us know what's going on in the credit union industry.
Hmm.
Now, being a part of Lacuna really makes us a part of the the African Credit Union and makes it a part of the World Global Credit Union, which the Navy Federal Credit Union is a part of also.
Hmm.
So, um, credit union is not just something for Africa. Okay, so it's kind of out there.
The
Now, when
global.
you look at some of those Western Union, Cola Cash, Sendwave, uh, Tap Tap, and all of that, those are the mobile money services and money transfer and money remittance services, right? You cannot be in this business and not uh, be in the space where um, you have to work with them because
Mhm.
it's a reality. We're going more digital.
Yeah. Perfect. I think. Well, are we here? Huh.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
And I could go through this real quick, Gabe.
Right.
So people often ask, well, how much is it? How much is it? So look, the minimum for the year is the minimum you can do is 115 bucks, right? Most people, when I was talking to them about investing, they were shaking. They're like, man, what is this guy coming to? Then I
Mhm.
told them, they're like, oh man, come on, man. So guys, the minimum is 115 bucks, $40 for one share, $10 for your membership due and passbook. There's the $5 fee, and then there's the which is the LFTC credit union administrative fee. And if you were to save the minimum of $5 per month, that would be $60. So 115. We encourage you, if you're in the diaspora, my tip to you as a diaspora is, start off a little bit more. Start with maybe 300 or 500 or like 1,000 or 2,000. Okay, it's going to be worth your while. If I can get 50 diaspora to put in like 1,000, 50,000, we're kind of well on our way to doing some amazing things.
Yeah. Okay.
Distribution. So how the surplus? How does it work? So our distribution is a straightforward approach. Um, 65% of the surplus what we make goes back to the members. Okay.
Okay.
We use 20% for operation expense. So we have a staff. We have people there when you call. If you send an email, they're going to respond. We have a very robust virtual workspace system. I like to call Google, but it's the paid one for workspace. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
and by the way, a lot of universities use that now. So we kind of in good hands. Board of directors, they have 5%, and we have to put to the side 10% of what we make.
That's
So
your
that's
capital reserve.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's some of our movement into the side. So, we want to bring the diaspora Liberians here together for a common purpose. But really, remember, anybody can join.
Yeah.
Anybody. So, of course, most people who know about Liberians who are passionate. So, um, yeah, the more members and savings, the bigger the impact. And I've just shown you, you can become a member for 55 bucks, and every month you can send $5. So that's it. How do you become a member? Well, you apply online or in person. You can send us an email. We can set up an appointment. We don't have to. We can do it on our Google Chat. We can do it um, Zoom. We
Hmm.
are internet capable. We can over WhatsApp. We can give us a call, or you can fill out the form yourself, and we can walk you through it. Once you do the application, you send your money, and you are in.
Yeah.
We have a bunch of Q&A FAQs on our websites for those who would like to know more. You know, we've answered some questions.
Yeah.
Some of this information is just there, but I think we've covered most of them. The
Yeah.
credit union, savings, equity, and how do you access your account? Oh, how do you access your account? I think that's important.
Yes.
Remember, we do not have a very robust
Well, I think we may have lost. Well, uh, I know he's in Liberia, so it might be one of two issues: either internet or LEC has struck again. Um, but everything that's in the slide is actually on the website. So if you're interested, I would say reach out to Will. What I would do in a minute, I will share his contact in the comment section. So if you have more follow-up questions, you can reach out to him. Just give me 1 minute here. Let me get his contacts for Liberia. So I will share his contacts in Liberia. So if you have any questions, just reach out to him. Just 1 second here. This is 779-058-968. All right. I think he's back.
Hey Gabriel, how you doing? Can you hear me?
Hey, I was just telling people you're in Liberia, so there's got to be one of two issues: either LEC or the internet. But
My
anyway,
man, don't even put that thing on don't even put that thing on us. You are in Trump world, man, over there, man. So you know, who knows, man? You probably cut everything to negotiate some new deal.
yeah, he's ruthless. Dude is ruthless. But yeah, go ahead. You were saying before we lost you. You were
Yeah,
talking
what I was
about
going to say was that to access the account, send us
yeah,
an email. We'll let you know. We have a book. We have different systems. We don't have the online capability yet, as you guys know. To have some kind of online banking or
right.
information service, you really have to get into a little bit more of a heavier spending, and
Yeah. What
maybe
is the
we'll get there. But for now, this is it. Hmm?
what is the email? Let me drop it in the chat just in case people would like to follow up with you. You know,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
your
Email is
general
LFTC.
email.
Uh,
What is it?
yeah, for the credit union, right?
Yes.
LFTC.creditunion at
Uh,
Liberia Finance and
LFTC.
Trust.com. We just send it.
So LFTC at Liberia. What?
Yeah, I just send it in the private chat.
Okay, great. Let me copy it from there then.
LFTC.creditunion at Liberia Finance and Trust. Yeah,
All right. Let me. And we
yeah,
have a question
and
in the comment here.
oh yeah.
Yeah, we have a question in the comment
Uh,
here. So maybe you can answer that in 1 minute.
oh, does your okay, okay.
Yeah. That's it. That's the question. I think you said voila. This is it. So he
Yeah,
said
call,
there's
right? Does your company Mhm.
yeah. Go ahead. He said, does your company help with startup
does
capital for businesses in Liberia? If so, what is the
yeah,
APR interest rate?
right.
Annual percentage APR,
Right.
meaning
So,
annual
you
percentage
know,
rate for those of you. All right. Go
mhm,
ahead.
yeah. At the moment, at the at the moment, um, at the moment, no. Um,
Mhm.
if the person wants to, you know, they can always send me an email. I know a few individuals maybe that may have some capital to lend, but I'm not aware of the startup space heavily in Liberia where there's stuff there at the moment. Um,
Mhm.
So if we open up something like that, then believe you me, I'll be advertising it.
Okay. Perfect. Perfect. Yes. So that
Actually,
brings us to,
now,
yes, go ahead.
no, go ahead, Gabe.
No, 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 go ahead. I think you have something to say. I'll let you.
Okay. So yeah, and I know we'll probably have a little bit more conversations, but I think right now it's just the call to everyone. If you're the diaspora Liberian, or if you um, are in the diaspora, we encourage you to be a part of this credit union. It's a good journey. It's a straightforward thing. We have a lot of we have a good reputation. We've been around since 1977. That says a lot. We've been through the pre-war, where we were the corporation had about $5.1 million
Mhm.
performing loans, and then the war happened, and of course you know what happened with almost everyone. And post-war, we've come now to this point where we're looking to really reestablish. We've invested a lot in our talent,
Yeah.
and we just want to move forward, and we hope that you know what we talked about today was convincing enough to get some individuals to be a member.
Yeah. No, thank you. I think what you're doing is something bold. Again, being I mean, you're not new to this. You've started a real estate company here, so this is you know they say
Right.
it gets addictive. So once you've become an entrepreneur, you start one company, it kind of becomes like you get addicted to where you get into this cycle where you will start another company, sell it, or win off of it, and then you go move on to the next. So I think what you're doing, a friend of
Right.
mine put it nicely. He said you have to look at Liberia this way, right? If you look at other countries such as the U.S., you have the J.P. Morgan, the Dale Carnegie, the Bill Gates, and the Jeff Bezos. Those are what we call the industrialists, the uh, capitalists that actually started some of the greatest companies in this country, right? And one of the things he always said is that we have to get to a place where we create those individual in Liberia, right? Meaning we have people who start banks, who
Yes.
start, industrial companies that eventually will become maybe the biggest employer in Liberia instead of the government. So I very commend you on what you're doing, and it's bold, especially trying to do it in a country where I think there's you have to you have to be very scrappy to pull that off, because we all know how things works in Liberia. So that's a testament to your
Yeah.
greediness, you can become. Right.
Right. And you have to be you have to be scrappy, you have to build relationships, you
Yeah.
have to be patient, you have to but once you get to a certain point in your training, like your training kicks in, right? You kind of get to that point where you're like, okay, I think we can really make it happen, right? And then
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
go for it, right? Um, so Gabe, one of the things that I want to make you aware of for
Yeah.
you is, and this is something that I think, as we've known each other for a while, I think
Yeah.
if I start telling you about something like this, I think
Just go for it. Go for it. Liberia is happening to the world right now. Man, I love it. I love it. I love it. All right, as we wait for Will to come back, if you have any questions, please just put it in the comment section. I will, just taking time to go through that right now. We do not have any comment besides the one we had earlier, besides the one comment we had. Um, for me, if, hopefully he can, come back. on the show. But if not, what I would do, I would start wrapping up here. Um, as I said earlier, when he and I started talking about his idea of wanting to build, you know, a microfinance. I mean, not microfinance, a credit union. This was in, I think, early 2020 when we had all the time on our hand. Everybody was home, so we spent a lot of time talking about that. So, this is 5 years later to come and pull this out. I think this is a very good journey that he has started. And as I said earlier during the show, the biggest thing here is to have, gain the trust of Liberians in the diaspora. I know Dualu is also raising funds as well. There he is. He's back. Yeah. Well,
Yeah, I'm here. So I
yeah.
think we should, you guys in the US, your internet having issues.
You got drop face, my man.
So
Of course we do.
So what I want to tell you, and I think I see something up here. Stream this to your audience. I think we're still live, so which is good, right?
Yeah, we are. Yeah.
Okay. So hey, the Liberian Stock Market Exchange.
Right.
So just let me know when we want to have a conversation. Probably at the beginning of next year.
Really?
Yeah. Let's have this conversation and let's see about getting it started. Let's see about getting it started.
Yeah, are you serious? This is
Yeah. Let's see about getting it started. It's
this is May
a lot
10,
of people don't read.
2025.
A lot of people
Yeah.
don't read, but the things are on the books now and it's
To
been
launch
there
it.
for years.
Yeah.
Yes. So with technology, and one of the things you said earlier that I liked, you said that bank was open how many days a week?
3.
Thank you. So
3.
we can get started with some pretty straightforward stuff, and we don't have to be open like the stock market in the US. Right. And we don't have to offer all of the different products like the stock market in the US. And so
That is an idea I would like to get behind, with not just 1 foot in the water, but 2 feet jumping in the water. You know how I feel about that. I think we have gotten it wrong our entire 180 years in existence in terms of understanding how capital and having a robust financial system can transform our country. That once we start that, you would just be looking to the government for regulation. Basically, It would be a hands-on approach where you can just build out the country and expand the economy. The only thing they'll be doing is just regulating it. So that is a great idea. I'm glad we actually have this conversation. And definitely.
I mean, it is going to happen because so the end goal, or one of the greatest feelings I'll have, is when we have a Liberian company buy a Western company. Remember, Tata did it, right? So
Will said this is the internet problem from our side, but I think you guys know what he meant. This is Liberia. I called it. We got Liberia again. But yeah, well, hopefully you can come back. As I was saying earlier, this is a great endeavor that you've started, and I want to see you grow this credit union into maybe eventually a full-fledged bank. But as we were talking, I think the idea of a capital market in terms of a stock exchange is something that I've talked to a lot of people about, some high-level people, and every time you talk to them, they usually, beat down the idea, or they will tell you, "Oh, we have these things on the books, but nobody really, get behind it." So, yeah, that is something hopefully we can work on and get it started. But hopefully, if he doesn't come back, I think this was yeah, we're actually out of time. And since we don't have any comments in the section here, we are
Yeah,
going to wrap up and call it well.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
all
I'm
right,
here.
yeah,
I'm here.
yeah. Go ahead, go ahead. I was just about to wrap up, but go ahead, as you were
Right.
saying.
Yeah, Gabriel. Just want to thank everyone. Look, we've been
No,
on
no,
this
you
journey
had
to focus on
a,
Liberia.
the thought process on the Tata Moto,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
company,
yeah. Tata
right,
was,
right.
we were just sitting like any other regular day, and then Tata came out with the announcement that they were buying, I think, Range Rover
It
or
did,
one of
yes.
those big companies that were
It
buying
was Range Rover, yeah.
Lipton, and I think Lipton also. So I could be wrong, but I mean, that was one of those where, you know, hey, it's all numbers. It's all the
Makes
numbers if
sense.
it makes sense.
Yeah.
We've had some really good, we've had some really good Titans uh, in Liberia. They're they've done quite a lot of good things.
Hmm.
And I just look at the whole Connex and Total, right? Connex
Hmm.
stepped in and they purchased Total. Total
Hmm.
was exiting Liberia. They actually did it. They did it from the private market side, right? So what
Yeah.
I'm saying is, it will be great. It will be something that as a motivation is when a listed company on the Liberia stock market
Yeah.
raises the required capital to go after uh, a company
Yeah.
and get it done.
All right.
So
No, I like the
yeah,
idea. I like the idea. So
yeah,
let's from now until next year when we fully get things on
yeah.
let's have that conversation. I would love to have that conversation. Trust
Right,
me.
right, right. We have it. Yeah, yeah. And obviously, that the beautiful thing is that this stock market idea is it's not just me, right? You know that
Yeah.
there's like 20 other people that we know that are Liberians that have talked about it, right? So this is not me,
It's all about
but
execution. As I always tell people when people I listened when I
it's
used to
execution.
underwrite, right? When I used to underwrite, people would
Mhm.
pitch their company, their startups, and I would tell them what makes you different from the next person with the same idea. It's all about two things, right? The team you have behind you and the execution.
Mhm.
That is it. Other than that, I can take your
Right.
idea and give it to somebody who's an execute, and they will do a better job at you. So the most important thing when you're starting, your execution, and most importantly, the team. So yeah, like you said, there's 20 other people,
Yeah,
but yeah,
that's it.
let's get it going. Yeah.
That's it. So yeah, man. So I'll just close. I want to thank everyone for
Yeah.
joining in, and I want to encourage, if you listen and you feel that little inspired, please join. We're ready to go. We're live, so you can go on. You can do the form uh, anytime. So let's just make it happen.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
got somebody
Thanks.
here who said it will be a member already. Yeah.
Oh yeah, let's make it happen. Crawl, you got that email. If you forget the email, Liberia Finance and Trust, it's online. So you can
Yeah.
just go there to the website, send me a email, and then we can get it going.
Well, as I always say to you, thank you for coming. I really admire what you're doing in Liberia. As I said, if you can pull up a company in Liberia and make it work in Liberia, they can put you in Sahara Desert. Trust me, you you're gonna start companies in Sahara Desert. So again, I really appreciate you, my friend. And as I said, we're gonna this. Hopefully, this is not your last time here. As the credit union progresses, we would love to see you on here and talk to us about the progress it's making so far. But anything else you got to say
Yeah.
before we adjourn?
No, just hey, no stress. We're doing it the best way we can, and
Yeah,
love to come back in about 2 or 3 months and
yeah,
give a serious update. Hey, yeah,
yeah,
we hit these targets. Nay, we didn't hit these targets. Oh man, you know what, my man? I think I need to come back to the US. This thing is hot. This thing is
You
hot,
you
my
are
man.
you are a
What?
riot, man. You're a
What?
riot. You're a whole riot. But no, thank you for coming, man, and have fun. I hope you enjoy your weekend. We chat. Let me close this show. Um, guys, thank you for watching. Hopefully,
Thanks.
you can share it. Go on the website if you want to be a member. Reach out. There's a website on there. I share the website in the link. Reach out. If you're sending money in Liberia too, you can use the credit union to send your money. They're right in Central Morovia where they can pick up their money. And as I said, this is a very well-backed credit union, Central Bank, Echo Bank. They have Western Union, they have Money Grant, so they have a full-fledged. So again, share it, utilize it, become a member, and let's build this thing. Thank you, and thank you for watching, and we hope you enjoy your weekend. Ciao.
We are Liberia. Liberia is our home. Liberia people. USA, all we want. Liberia, oh. USA, all we want. Liberia, Liberia. Oh,